Right? Let's just get straight into it. Because if you're still thinking of AI as just another shiny software tool, something you kind of casually dabble with on the side, well, consider this your wake-up call. The source material we're looking at today brilliantly frames this as an asteroid that has struck the modern organization. And that's exactly what it is. This is not some minor feature update. It is a massive impact event that absolutely demands a complete architectural rethink of how we work. In this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly what happens when technology stops being just a handy tool and literally becomes the operating system of your entire business. So here's our roadmap for today. First, we've got the catalyst. Second, the agentic explosion. Third, how the architecture era begins. Fourth, we'll walk through the 6 autonomy levels. And finally, we'll wrap up with the CEO reality check. Let's get going.
Okay, Section 1, the catalyst, or how the AI asteroid hits. To really grasp the sheer scale of what is happening right now, we actually need to take a quick look backward.
There's a totally direct line from 2008 all the way to today. Think back to 2008. AWS launches, right? And it fundamentally rewired company economics. Suddenly, compute was off the balance sheet and became a variable cost. Game changer. Then by 2014, the exponential organizations framework emerged. Fast forward to 2023, and leveraging external resources and algorithms was definitively proven across hundreds of thousands of companies. But proven is not permanent. The real trigger? That hit in late 2025 with the launch of OpenClaw. When it went open source, it became the fastest growing project in GitHub history in roughly 4 months. I mean, it absolutely flew past React and Linux. And then, bam, March 2026, NemoClaw hits the market, putting massive NVIDIA-scale silicon power right behind that exact same trajectory. So what do we actually mean when we talk about the asteroid? Put simply, it's an organizational impact event that progressively forces humans to stop being gatekeepers and start being validators. The old way of doing things? It's completely gone. Every single management system, org chart, compensation structure, and governance model that was built on the assumption of human gatekeeping is now glaringly, painfully inefficient. We aren't here to do all the ground-level execution anymore. Our new job? We check the work that the system executes.
Moving on to Section 2, the agentic explosion. Things are compounding at machine speed now, and the data proves this asteroid hasn't just entered our atmosphere, it has already made a massive crater.
524%. According to IDC, that is the projected compound annual growth rate on tasks executed by enterprise agents. We're talking about scaling from 44 billion tasks in 2025 to a mind-bending 415 trillion by 2030. Let that sink in for a second. 415 trillion. This absolute explosion of executed tasks is, frankly, the only metric that really matters right now. We are moving miles away from AI just helping a human draft a polite email. We're entering an ecosystem where AI autonomously executes trillions of background tasks 24/7 without us even noticing.
And this perfectly illustrates the commercial reality of that explosion. Just look at Anthropic's annualized revenue. Back in December 2024, they were sitting at a very respectable $1 billion. But fast forward to May 2026, $44 billion. No way, right? But that unbelievable growth in just a year and a half wasn't driven by selling consumer chatbots, not at all. It was fueled entirely by a massive structural shift. The market moved from simple coding agents to deploying general-purpose enterprise agent harnesses at an immense scale. Transaction and coordination costs are basically collapsing towards zero, and the real money is flowing directly to the infrastructure making it all happen.
Which leads us to a reality that is both terrifying and incredibly exciting. Continuous, compounding operational improvement at machine speed. We're not just talking about agents doing simple, repetitive grunt work anymore. We're looking at recursive workflow improvement. The agents are actually improving their own workflows. They refine their own prompts, they pull richer training data, they figure out new optimization targets all on their own, and then they feed those results right back into the next cycle. The gap between the companies running this loop and those that aren't, it's going to become structurally unbridgeable in months, not years, months.
Section 3. The architecture era begins. We've got this incredible compounding speed in the tech, but there's massive friction out in the market. A glaring disconnect between the technology itself and the readiness of the executives who actually have to run these operations. The McKinsey State of Organization's 2026 report surveyed over 10,000 leaders globally across 16 different industries, and wow, the results are stark. 72% of organizations admit they are totally unprepared for what's coming. Only a tiny fraction feel ready. And as the source material acutely points out, That 72%? That's not a forecasting error. That gap is the exact size of the asteroid's impact, measured in sheer organizational mass.
So the main takeaway here is really simple. The dabbling era is officially over. We are completely done with treating this as just a new tool wave, or using isolated single agents, or stubbornly holding on to our legacy org charts. We have crossed over into the architecture era. This is an impact event requiring orchestrated teams of specialist agents and a complete structural rethink of the business. Gartner actually reported a 1,445% surge in multi-agent inquiries. Because single-tool dabbling, it just creates a bunch of AI slop that humans have to clean up downstream. The architecture era means building the firm from the ground up as a network of agents.
All right, Section 4, the 6 autonomy levels. We've talked about the urgent problem and this massive market shift. Now, let's slow down for a second and look at the survival guide for this new architecture era.
It all starts by looking really closely at your own day-to-day operations and asking a very blunt, slightly uncomfortable question. What can AI actually see and do in your company? Think about it for a minute. Are your actual workflows legible to a machine? Or does all your critical institutional knowledge live trapped in undocumented Slack threads, endless status meetings, and siloed software? Because here's the truth. If the machine can't see the workflow, the machine can't help you compound it.
To really figure this out, you need to honestly answer 4 structural assessment questions. Number 1, what can AI see? Number 2, what can AI do? Does it actually alter your systems of record? Like, is it updating your CRM or reconciling your billing? Or is it just summarizing text for you? Number 3, who can extend the system? Can your everyday, non-technical operators build internal tools? Or is every single capability trapped behind a massive engineering backlog? And finally, number 4, how has the organization changed? Has the baseline operational structure actually shifted, or are you just running a 1990s legacy model with a really good autocomplete feature?
Based on how you answer those 4 questions, you're going to land somewhere on Anne Miraco's autonomy ladder. This framework is basically the ultimate survival guide. Borrowing the concept from self-driving cars, it maps out exactly how organizations evolve. Level 0 is just AI theater. You know, executives making big flashy announcements but with zero actual operational adoption. Level 1 is personal productivity. Level 2 is team workflow, which mostly just accelerates functional silos. Level 3 is organizational infrastructure. Level 4 is a compounding operating system where the entire system maintains its own context. And finally, Level 5 is the virtually self-driving organization.
We really need to emphasize the absolutely crucial leap from Level 1 up to Level 3. See, Level 1 is just personal productivity. Your power users act as these transient heroes. They figure out incredible prompts and shortcuts, but the second they quit, they take all those efficiencies right out the door with them. It just doesn't scale. You have to get to Level 3, organizational infrastructure. Here, agents operate as cross-functional systems. They actively read and execute changes across your enterprise systems of record. They figure out what shipped, who ordered it, and what broke, all without forcing humans to convene a painful, hour-long cross-departmental status meeting. And if you keep climbing that ladder, you eventually reach the absolute pinnacle, Level 5. This is the realm of generative noticing. The system achieves a state where it autonomously identifies critical operational anomalies or market shifts, synthesizes all that data across disparate sources, and actually takes action, entirely without a human ever typing a query. It updates the shared enterprise memory all on its own. At Level 5, humans are elevated entirely out of the day-to-day execution loops. Instead, our job is to govern risk, taste, purpose, ethics, and strategic direction. And that right there is the true AI-native endgame. Which brings us to our final segment, Section 5, the CEO Reality Check. For any business leaders tuning in who might still be treating this as a routine IT software update, listen up because this is for you.
Here is the brutal, undeniable truth from the source material. If your weekly cadence, approval chains, and operating reviews are unchanged, AI hasn't transformed your company. It's accelerated the old one. I mean, wow. Hit the nail on the head, right? If you just slap some AI tools onto a 2023 org chart and try to call it a transformation, you have entirely failed the structural assessment. The message is clear. If you score below a Level 3 on that autonomy ladder, the core architecture of your business hasn't even started compounding yet.
Which leaves us with this final, highly provocative thought to chew on. Take a hard look at your own org chart and operational structure today. Are you actively building a compounding architecture, or are you just sitting there waiting for the asteroid to hit? Because if you want to actually survive and thrive in the architecture era, it's time to honestly assess your autonomy level and start restructuring from the ground up. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.
I highly, highly encourage you to take these structural questions right into your very next leadership meeting. See you next time.